Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching a YouTube channel called Alpha Investments, where we discuss one man's journey living in the state of Florida, living the cardboard life. 10 years on YouTube, in case you were just wondering that. I apologize I haven't told you sooner. Same card shop chair with the same strength, mental fortitude to stay the course through all the booms, the busts, the crashes, the bustiness of the something. I'm Rudy. So, how are we all doing? Haven't filmed right here in a little while. Welcome to Rudy's pre-COVID, early COVID, in 2019 era. The reason I'm here is because of this. You guys been blowing me up to talk about War of the Sparky. And then talk about, the collector boxes. Who's buying this stuff? How is this happening? It's great, Timmy. You keep being angry. Make sure you tell other people on the internet that you don't know, that it won't help your life. Make sure you spend your life going like this to make the Reddits and Facebooks more powerful by the day. Clickety, click, 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 beep, boop, boop, bop, bop. Throw drain. So, news of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Couple things I want to go over. I'm going to answer a few Q&As, a few questions and answers from you all about, you just want my opinion. So first, we're going to get right into it. Collector boxes. Obviously the talk of the cardboard world, where you have the more, how do I say this nicely? I want to be very polite and politically correct. I don't want to get canceled. So I'm going to try to use my words cautiously in this video. I don't want to insult anybody. So we have the lower educated, dumbass, retard, stupid people on the internet who spend their days on social media pretty much getting ad impressions and clicks and bots and beep boops and helping all these tech companies become billionaires and trillionaires. You guys keep doing you. But we want to be very respectful in this video. We don't want the stupid people who live on these websites because they have nothing better to do because they're important. Okay, anyways. Why is this happening? The talk around the world. Why? We have Aether Drift, the worst set ever, right? Collector boxes. Wow, they're not 180s anymore. They're actually at all-time highs of 220s? Really? Okay. Karlov Manor. Not only did it get out of foreclosure, it got bought out, and Karlov Manor collectors are heading to $300 plus a collector box. How did this happen? Welcome to the new era. So as we continue to see people... Okay, I guess we're done with the memes and jokes. No more memes and jokes. Very serious now. A lot of people just have a hard time understanding, and they genuinely refuse to accept what's going on. That's just the reality of it. Magic has gone so long without a market like this, it makes people feel like it's not legitimate. So to say this another way, Magic has gone so long without sealed product appreciation and has had such bad management, which is mostly gone at Wizards now. Now that we're back to a different type of market, the people who've been here the last 5, maybe 8, or even 10 years are very unwilling to accept the reality of 2025, especially post-Final Fantasy. That is a very basic Rudy explanation. Now, this gets to this. So, about 10-20 of you guys in the last 24 hours keep wanting me to bring up War of the Spark. Why all of a sudden is War of the Spark, pre-2020, the last set before the Flash era, War of the Spark with Guilds of Ravnica, Allegiance, and War of the Spark. Those 3 were the last sets before we hit Throne of Eldraine, the Flash era. Was it a sticker? I guess it was a sticker. Those were the last sets before we hit the Flash era. And for the last 6 years, War of the Spark boxes, because of the crash of 22-23, they've been quote-unquote dead money, bad things to hold, bad investments, bad collectible items, bad playable cards. Everything's bad. Right? Well, yeah, you have a 6-year-old product, and I used to sell War of the Spark for $80 a box to patrons for probably almost 2 years straight, and I sold thousands and thousands of boxes, and a lot of my own patrons and ex-patrons, and probably still hold sealed War of the Spark. And now, out of nowhere, in the last 30 to 60 days, War of the Spark on TCG Player has gone from about 110 to about 150 to 160. It's bouncing around, depending on listings. And a lot of people are trying to understand why all of a sudden can a product, after that many years, that's been completely quote-unquote dead, why does that happen? And this goes back to what we discussed on this YouTube channel for the first 5-6 years before we hit the COVID boom and bust, the bull market of 2020, 2021, the crash of 22 and 23, and then the bull market of 2024, and now the absolute, rock hard green arrow up in 2025. Obviously, I've never seen a market this strong in my entire life, and that is the future we're in. The internet, historically, is always wrong. That's why I always poke a lot of fun at people who spend their days on social media, because you're not educating yourself, you're not bettering your life. Essentially, you're probably even addicted to it. You don't realize that if you're watching TV or you're walking around your house, you pick up your phone, you swipe a few times, you refresh, you check things. And if you ever really put your phone down and stop and be like, what am I doing? You realize it's almost a subconscious addiction that you're doing with social media. It's almost a toxic relationship. Because the more you really analyze this stuff, if you spend too much time on social media, any website, MySpace, Facebook, Discords, Reddits, any of these things, historically, not all, but most of these groups and a private Facebook group of special approved people, they're not really going to better your life. That's the nasty reality of it. That's just the world we're in. And unfortunately, a lot of these groups, they have groupthink. They're not open-minded. They're very closed-minded to a lot of other people, other stores, other content creators. They're closed-minded to a lot of different potential outcomes in the future. They are not open-minded to the potential and the possibility that we could be heading in a direction that no one's calculated, that no one has predicted. And that is the difference between people who are very well versed in life experiences and understanding versus people who are in groupthink surrounded by yes men and quite simply are just dumbasses. And the problem is those are the people that spend hours and hours a day on social media. And not to pick fun at those people, but historically, what are you doing with your life? Now, in the last 10 years, before the last 24 months, it was generally accepted that sealed magic and everything, years ago, was a big thing. And then in the last 5-7 years, sealed magic was fully dead. If you tried to discuss it online, talk to other people about opinions, it was met with just straight criticism, attacks, your posts would be deleted. If you try to have certain conversations, you weren't allowed to, and that information would be removed from online. And a good example today is the War of the Spark situation. So the War of the Spark situation, everybody, you got to understand, that box has been out of print now for 5.5 years. Well, if you had bought that box from a store for $90, or even if you're a Rudy patron, you paid $80. Well, in 5 years, it finally hit $150, $160. Let's say you sell online, you pay shipping and fees, take off $20. So maybe you net $130. Now, most of you are gonna say, well, Rudy, an $80, $90 cost basis, 5 years to net $130? That seems pretty bad. Correct. Out of context, it is bad. But then the more you step back and you think about it, you go, well, okay, you paid $90 because you refuse to be a Rudy patron because you don't like money and you're happy being angry. You paid $90 online. You sold it for $150 today. You net $130. So your $90 investment, very small scale, very small example. Your $90 went to $130 after 5 years. Is that really a bad thing? What percentage is that? Well, 90 to 130, that's probably, that's almost 50%. It's about maybe a 45% net return? So divided by 5 years. So you made almost 10% a year. So again, it's not an issue about sealed products in perspective in this world. It's an issue that our culture has changed. Our issue today is that the expectations of people, because of crypto, yes, because of Poke Bros, or I guess they're called sneakerheads. I was told this from some patrons. Sneakerheads and that money. A lot of money has sloshed around and distorted a lot of markets. That's a real thing. But at the end of the day, when this was an example used of how bad buying magic is and leaving it sealed, I'm sorry, but netting 9 to 10% a year, and that's a bad example, still seems pretty good to me. Remember, professional money managers, the goal long term is always usually around 7 to 9%, maybe 10% or above. Double-digit return is always considered a blowout year, at least from when I was trained on Wall Street with actually being a broker and everything. Double-digit returns was always considered a phenomenal thing. Okay, I don't think, how do I say this? I feel like so many people gave up, and it's been this way with magic for so long, that now that magic is repricing, overcompensating, it's fascinating to me to watch all the people kind of squirm. It's fascinating to watch everybody resist the reality of the trend. Like, you could pick the worst collector box on the market, which I stand by. And I told you guys at release, and everybody just made fun of me, heavy bags, dumb, blah, blah, blah. I'm used to it. 10 years on YouTube. I'm telling you guys right now, this isn't even bad. Have I shilled Aether Drift? We haven't done the Aether Drift? Let's shill Aether Drift. This again, it has a serialized, really cool card. The set, the flavor of it, the street racing, the goofy cartoon art style. Yeah, a lot of it's definitely below average, subpar, and not that great. I'm not going to act like all of that is well designed. It's not. But this is a limited product that was fire sold and dumped that most people already don't have. And you can still get it today for $220, $230, maybe $250 with tax. And guess what? This is going to be a $500 collector box. And that makes people kind of very, it gives that knee-jerk reaction because that's just the market we're in. Should that be a $500 collector box? I don't know about that. Will it be a $500 collector box or above? Yeah, it will. The only argument that you and I can have is what it will be the date that happens. It's just like Wall Street. It's just like options trading and derivatives and contracts and everything. You're not betting on whether the market's going to have a crash. We're not betting on whether things are going to go up or down. We're betting on the timing of it. That's something that people who are not the most polished in finance don't quite grasp. We're not betting that this market is not sustainable. We're not betting that magic's going to cool off one day or it's going to crash. There will be a day, of course it does. That's what every market does in all points of human history. The betting and the professionals and the whales and the big money are arguing, is this going to happen in 6 months or 6 years? If magic's going to continue to boom for 6 years, you could buy anything today. You could buy Throne of Eldraine, War of the Spark, Aether Drift. You could, Old Kaladesh. You could buy anything. Hey, look, one of these super unbelievably limited Time Spiral Remastered draft boxes that they printed almost nothing of, and any reprint they did went to Amazon. That's it. You can bet on anything. Life is not about thinking something's going to move in a certain direction. Everything in life is about timing. And it's just, I think there's going to be a large segment of the public in Magic that just doesn't believe what's happening with collector boxes are real. Like, that is just, because it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real that Wildsville Drain collector boxes are now over $1,000. I guess $1,000 a TCG player plus tax, so $1,100 for many people. It doesn't feel that Karlov Manor collectors are $300 or $270 plus tax, so $290. Like what? It doesn't feel real because again, we went so many years, so many sets where nothing did anything. And now, well, smart money is realizing that a lot of this stuff is not properly priced. And that is just the truth, folks. And I'm not planning on selling any Throne or, I don't know, Kaladesh or anything, or Aether. I don't really have any of these for sale. Don't plan to anytime soon. But this is just, it doesn't matter what item you pick on. We can pick on and shill anything you want. But people just forgot. And just like I told you guys with Pokemon booster boxes should have never been $89, $99, $109. They should have never been that. I said that years ago. I said that in the COVID era. I said that in the bear market of 22 and 23 when Scarlet Violet 1 base came out. These things back in the day with XY, me trying to sell Evolutions and Breakpoint and Breakthrough and Steam Siege and Fate Reforged and Roaring Skies, trying to sell those for $89 was met with literal death threats, account closures, returns, chargebacks. It's because I've told you all many times, I want to believe in the efficient market theory. If you don't know what the efficient market theory is, the efficient market theory means that the current price you see of an item or a stock on Wall Street is the correct value of the stock on Wall Street based upon all available public information. Now that phrase is very articulately worded because based on all available public information. Now, with that being very clearly said, in the card world, we have a lot more distortions and market inefficiencies than we do on Wall Street. In the card world, we don't have the regulation that Wall Street, the SEC, and Securities and Exchange, we don't have the regulation that Wall Street reports and auditing has. In the cardboard toy world, if you're not in this industry and you talk about cards to anybody who's never handled cards, they're going to look at you like you're speaking a different language or you're completely insane. Trust me, I've dealt with it my entire life, which is why in the real world or my real life, I don't really talk to anyone about cards. I dress pretty down, boring, dressed down with older outfits, and I just kind of do my thing. And because you can't have conversations about this industry with people outside this industry because it doesn't make any sense to anybody else. But I'm telling you all right now, the card world has more market inefficiencies than any other sector or asset class or real estate and stocks and bonds, even Bitcoin, even other collectibles and things. But cards specifically are a very erratic, less efficient market. And I've lived my life for a very long time, 20 years probably, based on the theory that many cards and many sealed product boxes are not properly priced. I've said that for the entire 10 years I've been on YouTube. If you've been around this channel for a long time, you'll remember 5 to 8 years ago, we spent a lot of time on this channel talking about EV. No, not electric vehicles. EV would be the expected value. We spent a lot of time talking about if we open this box of War of the Spark, that's now $150, what are we going to get? $30 worth of cards? And then you get the people online who are just not informed, are going to say, see? That box is $30 in cards in it. Why would I pay $150? That's proof it's a bubble. Right? That was... And then I even did whiteboard videos in the past, which I promise I'll bring back. We had conversations in whiteboard videos discussing that, remember, the phrase I use over and over, and I'm going to remind you all if you weren't around on this channel 5-10 years ago, the older the sealed box, the less the cards within the box matter or impact the value of the sealed box. So, for the slower people in the back who are missing their head, a new product is heavily relied on the single card value. Once the product goes out of print, the divergence, the alligator mouth of the value of the sealed product versus the cards inside will continue to widen. The gap or variance, whatever terminology you want to use. So when a product is 2-3 years old, it's not uncommon that the single cards still have a lot of impact on the sealed box. Now when a product starts to get 5 years plus, 8 years, 10 years old, the value of the expected value starts to drop a lot. Because most of the single cards are standard. The utility of the game pieces means less. But now scarcity of sealed product becomes all that matters. Okay? If we look back at a box like Battle Bond, you know, this was another product, what year? 2018. So 7 years ago, I sold this box by the case to patrons for $79.99. Okay, 7 years later, this box is what, $200, $250? So again, a lot of people made a lot of money. And even before the crash, Battle Bond was $300 a box. Even after the crash of Cynthia Philip Morris, Tobacco, Funko Pop, bankruptcy, Williams, even after that, that $300 box is still about $225. So even 7 years ago, if you bought from me for $80, you still doubled, tripled your money in 7 years, which is what, a 20, 25% rate of return annually? Okay, maybe 18 to 20% after shipping and fees. Absolutely phenomenal data, right? It's fantastic. And again, anyone who tries to pitch you the angle that you don't touch collectibles because you should, you know, it underperforms the S&P or starts comparing it to an index or mutual fund, you immediately, I usually don't have a lot of in-depth conversations with people like that. Because historically, when someone is coming at you with that kind of approach, you're not really going to be able to discuss much because they're very fixated on their perspective, which they are right. And no one's ever really claimed that Magic beats the S&P. Has anyone ever said that or claimed that? Now, Pokemon, in the last 25 to 30 years, I have to admit, Pokemon has outperformed the S&P 500. Is that going to stay that way? I have no idea. I think it's an absolute bizarre fluke or anomaly. But yes, Pokemon and all data and all metrics over a 25-year period has outperformed the S&P 500 based on the value of sealed product. And there's just, it is what it is. It's mind-blowing to say that, but there's not a single Pokemon booster box in 25-year history that you could have bought at release date and just throw it in a closet or your underwear drawer or your panties drawer or your, I don't know, your inflatable drawer. And no matter what, in the future, you would have made money. It's just a bizarre anomaly, I guess. But the point of this rambles, everybody, is a couple important components. What you are seeing happening with collector boxes. What you're seeing happening with some other boxes. What you are seeing happening is real. And it's not a bubble. It's not stupid. It's just that a lot of items were mispriced. I've said this for years. And again, should a 7-year-old, 5.5-year-old box of War of the Spark, should this box be $89? Well, no. It shouldn't be. Why is that box not $200-$300? A 7-year-old Pokemon box for $89 today would be probably $8,000. And in the Magic world, you get a bunch of crazy, insane people on social media that say like, oh, evil people are pushing the price up. Like, to see even a 5... I wish I had a Throne of Eldraine collector box. The first collector box ever. Or, let's pick on something. What was another bad collector box? Karlov Manor, Aether Drift. I guess Theros, maybe? Strixhaven? Call Time? See, if I can go on TCG Player right now, or if a store contacts me right now, Rudy will sell you 100 or 1,000 boxes of Call Time collectors for $200 or something. Like, why on earth is a 4-year-old specialty collector box not $500 to $1,000? A limited, difficult to find product that's not much is online for sale. A lot of these items are not, were not, and are still not properly priced. And that is the new argument right now, is it's all a bubble. Why is this? Because ever since Wilds of Eldraine broke $1,000 And everyone's literally online acting like the most just embarrassing thing for social media. And it's a shitstorm of angrily stupid amateur Timmy'S. And they're all in a one bedroom. Toilet doesn't work. Taco Tuesday. We've been over this. And that's what the internet's filled with. It's very difficult to have good conversations about these products without just getting slammed in the face or deleted or banned or just having your information or your message removed. That's why I don't use social media. There's no point. Imagine if I actually took the time and went on Facebook or a Reddit or Discord. Could you imagine? You guys wouldn't even know, because by the time I post something, they would just ban me and delete it. So why would I ever even try? Do you see my, because you can't have conversations about a lot of these products. And then all of a sudden, the market goes in a direction that these people on these social media attracted platforms have. And God help the people who are moderators that volunteer to live the, oh my God, you guys need some mouth hugs, bro. They have their mind made up. Right now, the narrative is to simply not buy Magic collector boxes. You want my advice? I would go online. I would find local game stores. If they have older collector boxes, Throne, Ikoria, Theros, even Zendikar, Kaldheim, Adventures Forgotten Realm, Strixhaven, all the way into newer stuff. Those are just older examples. If you can find these boxes for a couple $100, stop and think about it. You really think in another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, the original Throne of Eldraine collector box is going to be $300? Or maybe, I don't know what it is now. Maybe it's gone up already. Or $350, $400, I don't know. Even $500, whatever it is now. You really think that price is going to stay? How dumb and ignorant and lack of open-minded to be willing to talk to anybody do you have to be to look at Brothers War? The first set with serialized artifacts in Magic's history. In Brothers War collector boxes, set at $200, $225 a collector box for 2-3 years. And everyone's like, oh my God, Rudy, Brothers War hit $300 now. And now the price goes up and everyone's throwing a temper tantrum and is angry. Everybody stop buying. Vote with your wallet. No, the whales are going to do it. Evil. No. They were too cheap, and other people who probably inputted more time and effort looked at this, researched this, called stores, did research, asked around, and all of a sudden realized, should a Phyrexia collector box be $200-$300? Should a Wildsville Drain collector box only be $300-$400? Should a Bloomborough collector box be $300-$400? I don't know. Duskmourn, should that be $400? Foundations, the set everybody said don't buy. I mean, folks, it's wild to see this almost money capitalism game piece versus speculator battle that's going on. I've done the same thing for the last 20 years. 10 years YouTube, 10 years Patreon, 15 years of distribution. I've been doing the same thing. I've never skipped a Magic set. I've never skipped a Pokemon set. Well, I'm lying. I skipped some Sun and Moon sets because I was a stupid, stupid person. Haunts me to this day. God, I can't believe I did that. God, that pisses me off. But anyway, I think the world and people just need more good conversations. And the perspectives online, and I guess the hot takes or the cold takes or the attitude online is just so bad. It doesn't help. It's not kind and respectful. It's just, the amount of, and look, patrons, I love you guys, but the amount of you guys who send me messages because you're angry that you pre-ordered at 2 or 3 different stores for Spider-Man collectors for $400, $500, $600, and all the stores are canceling your orders. And you guys always message me, Rudy, make a video, bash the store. This is their name, this is their location. Will you help me review bomb them? Look, I'm sorry that you bought from a store that canceled your order and relisted at a higher price. Is that the right thing to do? Absolutely not. I am not in the business to attack other YouTubers and attack stores. I'm too old for that shit. And simply put, I'm a firm believer that markets will take care of themselves. If you do the best you can, I try to ship out all my orders, make sure everyone's taken care of. Sometimes accidents happen. Sometimes things get damaged. Sometimes you just run into people who hate you and they just want to steal from you and do bad things or attack you. I mean, you're going to run into that. You're on the internet. I'm on the internet. You guys are listening to me on the internet. But overall, most people are good. And if you just can reach out to most people and you talk to most people, you can try to find just a fair, right thing to do solution. And most of the time, I mean, honestly, 99% of the time, that works out just fine. Sometimes it doesn't, and there people are going to just steal from you or do something bad, and that does happen. You guys see it. It's a hot thing in Pokemon. You guys see it on other channels, some nasty things, some bad people. But overall, it truly is a cultural attitude. There's just a lot of anger and hate in the world. And I think the part that's sad to me is a lot of anger and that hate in the world is deserved. Because there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of good people that are having bad things happen to them. There's a lot of good people that are getting hosed. A lot of good people that just you can't discount that that's not telling the truth. But it doesn't give anybody the right to lean into it and add more bad to the world. It doesn't, even if you're having a shitty day, it doesn't give you the right to just go online and bash some store maybe, or that you don't like, or they won't give you an allocation, or I understand the perspective, I just don't agree with it. If you buy from a store and they cancel your order because the price goes up, don't do business with them. If the store, if they're getting a restock on play boxes or something, well, and they say that, we'll honor the price and just hold on, then that's great. But, specifically with these collector box situations, it's wild to see how many people refuse to accept that these boxes are worth what they are. I think my favorite argument is always well, Rudy, it's just ink and cardboard and paper. How can it be worth $1,000? I just remember when the Lord of the Rings green boxes with the 101 ring, it was like $500, $600, $700. The one ring was found. The price dropped from like $600 to maybe back to $400 or $500 or something. I don't remember. And I remember everybody making fun of it. And now the green boxes of the Lord of the Rings are over $1,000. I remember the Fallout collector boxes. And then I remember even the bad ones, the Karlov Manor. I remember selling those for the $210 and $220. And everybody was angry because they dropped to $130, $140. And now they're almost $300. Markets are going to oscillate. And markets are very good at transferring money and wealth to the very calm, level-headed people. Doesn't matter if you're young or old. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. Doesn't matter if you're black, white. You could be dumb or smart. Doesn't matter who you are. I don't give a shit. I've talked to all of you out there. I've talked to all races, ages, gender, locations, countries. I have patrons all over the world in every situation, every gender, race, age you can think of. And the common denominator is I still get the vibe that no matter where you are, who you are, politics, religion, anything, everybody has kind of the same end goal. They want to enjoy their hobby. They don't want to get scammed. And to all you LGSs out there, remember, some things I offer, I have the best price. Certain play boxes and things, yeah, I'm cheaper than everybody else. Edge of Eternity play boxes for $100. Final Fantasy play boxes for what I do. Cases for $9.99, $160 a box, $165. Sometimes my prices are the best. Other times, I only take $5-10 off TCG Player. So if it's a $200 box, I'll be $189. And sometimes people are very happy about that. Other times people are very angry about that. And my advice to everybody out there is, it's not a big deal if you're the cheapest price or not. There's a lot more value and a lot of customers and a lot of people, and you'll learn as time goes on who's good, who's bad, who's smarter, who you can rely on, who you should listen to. Enough time will go by, and you'll get enough evidence, you'll get enough data to understand. As I used to say, it was kind of funny in my younger days, I used to tell people, if somebody's bankrupt or in debt, or young, starting out of college, little one-bedroom apartment, interning, trying to make it in the world, are you going to want to take financial advice? from that person on social media who's the intern starting out. Now, they could be smart and they could be really successful and wealthy in the future, but they have a long journey of life experiences and learning. I like to take advice and use data from people who have credentials, credibility, and have a track record that proves that they know what the fuck they're talking about. And that goes with anything from cards to investments to real estate to any business decision making. I don't really take advice or listen to a lot of things of people who don't really have proof or historical evidence that they know what they're talking about. And yet, on social media, that's what everybody does. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to go to a financial advisor who's bankrupt. I don't know if I'd want to get therapy or a therapist from a person who's going through the middle of a divorce and has restraining orders and takes a bunch of prescription things, and that's the person who's supposed to help me. I don't know if I'd want to do that. I'd probably want to find somebody else who's maybe a little better that could help my situation. If somebody works at Taco Bell, I don't know if I want to hire them as a private chef to make me a 5-course meal for an expensive business meeting. I mean, you understand? I mean, some of the examples aren't the best, but same thing. If I'm in the grocery store and I'm walking the parking lot and my car and engine have a problem, I don't think I'm probably going to ask the cashier at the grocery store to come analyze my car, hook up an OBD2 sensor or scan tool, and kind of go through my error codes and discuss what's wrong with my complicated Italian sports car. I don't think I should probably do that. I should probably find someone who has credentials, experience, and is more familiar with this stuff. So, you guys get the idea. When I look at these things, I find it very almost strange that we live in this time where people are taking all the magic and Pokemon advice from like the least skilled individuals. I believe everything in life should be based on skill. Again, told you, past that, I don't really care who you are, what you look like, or how old you are. But, if you're good at what you do, that's going to get my attention. And I think that's a pretty logical approach to most things in life. So, to wrap this video up, back to the beginning. I think the Magic collector market and the play box market continues its tear. I think the advice and commentary on the internet from people that you have no idea who they are, you don't know what their situation is, they're telling everybody to not do this, skip this set, not buy that, don't pay this, and of course, don't forget, Scalper Scanner 5000. Got to use the scalper word, otherwise you're not taken seriously. I would highly recommend that most of you out there kind of don't spend your time, absorbing information and commentary from people who haven't proven that they know what they're talking about. I'm not saying don't take advice from people who are right or wrong. Take advice from people who have a higher probability of being right. I get a lot of things wrong, and that's okay. We're all human. But again, if I can get 70, 80% of the things I do in this world, 70, 80% of the things I talk about with you guys right, and I'm only wrong 20% of the time, dude, I'm going to be proud of myself to the day I die. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I encourage you all to think the same way. I would not use anger and emotion when you try to do this stuff. And I 100% do not recommend that, because it's like, let's pick on Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy collector boxes at $1,200 or $1,300 is not a ripoff. It's not a bubble. It's not a scam. The people who refused to buy them, they weren't going to buy them when I was selling them for $739. People who refused to buy Final Fantasy collectors didn't want to buy them at $500, $600. They weren't going to buy them at $700, $800. They're not going to buy it at $1,000. They sure as shit ain't going to pay $1,200, $1,300. And those are the people that a lot of new people to our industry are getting advice or reading about or listening to. And that's not the greatest financial advice. Everyone's situation is different. Obviously, don't get in debt and don't be a dumbass. Make sure you have the resources and your life is stable and taken care of, and you have a real job, and you do have retirement money and reserve, and you do have exposure to the S&P. You do have you have a house or something. You make sure you're not an idiot. But there's nothing wrong with diversifying into collectibles. It's a fun component to add to a fun life. And that's what this is about. You know, no one, at least I haven't, I don't know if anyone else is, but I'm assuming, like I've told you all, I don't do this to outperform the S&P 500. I never bought Magic 20 years ago before YouTube because I was going to outperform the S&P 500. No one does that. No one's making videos saying that. People made videos saying, wow, it actually has outperformed. Look at this Pokemon box. People have said that, and there's truth to that. But people do this because you enjoy it. And yeah, it has a great historical track record. It's fun, and it's fun to diversify and have a hobby that you get to engage in this kind of business with. It's a lot of fun. That's why people do it. And the fact that it is a big business, it's a billion-dollar industry, it's just another icing on the cake, man. So to end this video, I'm done rambling, everybody. I just want everyone to understand. Collector boxes were underpriced. They were mispriced. The market was not efficient. And now as we continue through this last 6-month period of time, where everything is adjusting in price, folks, it's not a bubble. I'm sorry. I said it a month ago. I said it a week ago. I'm saying it again today. Let's okay? I'll go down the list, then we'll end this video. Eighth of Drift collectors, $300 to $500 box. Karlov Manor collectors, $300 to $500 a box. Laugh all you want. Brothers War, March of the Machine, Phyrexia, $1,000 boxes across the board. Across the board. Final Fantasy, $3,000 to $5,000 box. Fallout, $2,000 to $3,000 box. Lord of the Rings Holiday Special, I don't even want to say it because you guys will make fun of me. Fuck it, I'll say it. $5,000 to $10,000 a box. Bloomborough, $1,000 to $1,500. Wildsville Drain, $2,000. Ixalan, $1,000. What am I missing? March of the Machine Aftermath collectors, $200 to $300 a box. Assassin's Creed collectors, $1,000 a box. You don't have to like what I'm saying. I'm just giving you my opinion. And I don't know about you, but as I discussed this video, if you want my advice, I would probably listen to the people who have the most skin in the game and who've done this their entire life versus people on the internet that'll just delete your comment, moderate you, ban you, censor you, and tell you you're wrong, just go buy mutual fund, and they just won't have a conversation with you. Don't engage and have conversation with people that aren't willing to talk to you. Let them be. Because you'll learn a lot just listening and talking. The people who have value to add to your life are going to have good conversations with you. The people who won't talk to you and won't allow you to do things, that's not going to help you. And for the love of God, everybody, this whole thing, thinking Spider-Man boxes, I'm not going to buy them unless they go to $500 a box. Are you kidding me? I'll buy all the Spider-Man boxes for $500 a box. Are you kidding me? I would drop over $1 million if somebody would sell me Spider-Man collectors at $500 a box. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. In a 12-pack Spider-Man collector box at $500, dude, what does that come out to be? Like $40 a pack for collector packs for Spider-Man? Are you crazy? Each pack has what? 2, 3, 4, 5 rares and mythics? With vintage comic book and alternate art, all this crazy shit in this stuff. I don't care about the power level. Yeah, I'm aware some of the chicks had their boobs nerfed and there's a higher print. You can say whatever you want. People want it. Doesn't mean you're right or wrong. People want it. They're going to buy it. That's where we're at. That's what's happening. And yes, the new stuff. Edge of Eternities. Tarkir Dragonstorm. You want my advice? I would buy those boxes from LGSs and people online. I don't have any for sale. If you want my advice, I would buy those. If you can find any of those things for $200, $300, $400 a piece, I would buy them. Edge of Eternities collectors is a $1,000 box. Okay? Tarkir Dragonstorm with dragon scale fetch lands are $1,000 boxes. Foundations collectors, which blew out within a week of release of Foundations, and Foundations is in print for the play box for the next 2 years. Foundations collectors will be over $1,000. I don't understand why people are looking at these datas and charts and markets and situations, and everyone's just I don't want to say everyone. That's I apologize. I'll back step on that. Everyone, you have these huge amounts of loud, squeaky wheel people online yelling at people to not buy it. Don't do this. It's not worth this. Then don't buy it. Let other people make the money. Let other people make the wealth. Because I told you, Time, patience, and money will make more time, and that patience will make more money. And people in the market's going to market. And wealth will continue to get transferred. And unfortunately, I can make as many of these videos as I want. I can talk to you guys as long as I want. But you need to think for yourself. You need to work on your own situation. And one day when you get to a point where you're stable, you got your little retirement account, you got your emergency savings, you're not in debt, you got your house car thing, and you are looking to spread some money out, those are the times you really should look at collectibles. I don't care if you're looking at Magic. I don't care if you're looking at Pokemon. I don't care if you're looking at Flesh and Blood, One Piece, Weiss, Lorcana, Star Wars, Gundam, Riftbound, all these new games. You can look at anything you want. Sorcery's new Gothic set. You can look at anything you want. It doesn't make a difference what you're looking at. It's just collectibles are a good diversification piece to a long-term portfolio where you're looking for different categories. It's been that way in the past. It's that way now. And it will continue that way in the future. And there is still tremendous opportunity in collector boxes. And that is why you all are continuing to see so many collector boxes go up in price. And that's why there's continuing to be so much confusion on why it's happening. Because you have these squeaky wheel people of social media railing about don't do it, vote with your wallet, this and that. And those people don't buy anyways. And if they did in the past, they bought one little box. Those people who are making these loud, obnoxious this and that, don't do this, scam, everything, bubble. Those people, they don't buy anyways. The LGSs, 3,000 stores around the United States. All the collectors, the evil investors, even a lot of the players, they're the ones buying it. And I hate to break it to you, there are millions and millions of people that buy Magic and Pokemon. And remember that a couple voices that are very loud and posting online that maybe tens of thousands of other people think don't mean anything. Last comment I want to add. Even this YouTube channel, even if this video gets 50,000 views, understand, folks, there are millions of people in the card world of Magic and Pokemon. That means even if this video gets 50,000 views, the impact is negligible. Because that's still literally what? A half? A quarter of a percent? It's not even 1% of the people who are into the collectible world. Worldwide? 5, 10, 20 million people into collectibles and CCGs around the world? You would need a video that gets millions of views to have that much of a global impact. And I'm sorry, but my channel's too boring. I don't have flashy graphics. I don't have flashy thumbnails. I don't do flashy editing. I'm just a Florida dude who works all day. I like to have conversations with you guys. I like to interact with my patrons and have messages, and we got to talk, and then I run sales. I sell some boxes of cards to you guys, and that's it. It is that basic and simple. Sometimes the shit I sell skyrockets. Sometimes it sits flat. Sometimes it disappears. Sometimes it does nothing. That's the card world. That's why the best thing we can all do is diversify. So that's my words of wisdom for everybody. Don't underestimate the market. Don't underestimate Magic, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, Weiss, One Piece, some of these new card games, the Lorcanas, the Star Wars, the Riftbound, HoloLive, Gundam. There's so many of these things coming out. Don't underestimate them, folks. Do not underestimate the money moving around in this world. It's very difficult for us to comprehend as a single normal human. But the amount of money moving around this country and world is just billions of dollars. And it's a very disorienting thing to understand and accept. So, hope you guys learned something today. As always, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. And hope you all have a beautiful day. That's all I have. We done? I don't know if anybody ever did the $1 million buyout. I don't know if that ever happened. Did anybody ever do that? I know I talked about it. I don't know if anyone ever did that. Did anybody ever do that? I don't know if anyone ever did that.